All right, let's talk about basketball first of all. Has this been a kind of a challenging year? It seems like on the court it's been tough for everybody, of course, with the Great Lakes Valley Conference. But how has the year gone for you personally?
It's gone good. It's been, like you said, a challenge for us as a team. But personally, it's been a challenge. I've had a couple challenges personally coming to a new level of ball play. But I think as a team, we are doing better this year than everybody expected us to do. And I think that's really exciting for us right now. And we are doing really well as a team, and we get along great. And I think that's awesome.
How would you describe your role on the team this year?
I'm a very positive person. I bring the team up and I work really, really hard, and I bring a really positive outlook. I'm not a negative person. I lead by example. And right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not getting to play very much, but that's all right. And I still work very, very hard in practice, and I'm here to make everybody better. And I'm doing that role right now.
What's your motivation? I mean, you're being real honest about not playing much, but what's your motivation to continue leading like that?
I love the game.
Okay.
That's about it.
I think that's a great answer. You've had some challenges you talked about this year, but one of the challenges, as we've talked about in the past, was the head injury that you had a couple of years ago. Can you tell folks about just kind of tell them that story?
Yeah. A couple years ago, I was coming out of study hall and just being young. And
This was not at Jewell, though, right?
No, it was at my old college, Labette in Parsons, Kansas, and coming out of study hall, and one of my friends was in the parking lot in her car, and she was sitting in her car in the parking lot, and I sat on the hood of her car, and I guess just trying to, be kids, I guess, and she backed out, thought she was being, just being a kid, and I didn't have anything to hold on to, and she backed out, and I was trying to hold on to something, and everybody was yelling at her, telling her to stop, and instead of slowing down, she pulled forward real fast and slammed her brakes on, and I flew off. And that's the last thing I remember of that situation. And after that, I flew off, and I was rushed to the hospital in Kansas, and I had to be airlifted to Joplin. I was put on a ventilator, and they didn't really know what to do. They just pretty much told my parents, coaches, family that they're going to take me off and pray about it. And here I am.
It's obviously a life-changing experience, but how has your life changed from that point to, say, this point?
It's been challenging. I mean, people see me every day and they're like, they never would have known that I went through that. But the only really thing traumatic that did change my life was taste or smell. But that really doesn't, I mean, sometimes it gets to me, but and memory stuff, I do have trouble remembering stuff if I don't write it down. But other than that, I think I'm pretty normal.
People told you would never play basketball again, I'm assuming.
Nope. They did tell me that. They also told me that I'd never go back to school. But I was determined to do that.
So what you're telling me is every time you step into a classroom, every time you step onto a basketball court, you're kind of making some news here.
Yeah.
What's it been like? You talked about the taste and the smell thing, but the memory thing intrigues me. How do you be a college student with those kind of challenges?
It's hard. It really is. I carry around a notebook. I have a smartphone, and every time I hear something and I know that I'm not going to remember it, I put it in there, and I have a reminder that goes off to look down and say, hey, you need to do this, and I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And so it helps me a lot remember stuff. And even basketball-wise plays, before you could tell me something and I could do it automatically. I could go out there. Now it takes me so much more time, so much more repetition to remember it. But
does that whole experience, does that change your feeling toward, I don't know, maybe what you want to do in your career or anything like that? Have you become an advocate for people that have had this similar experiences?
Actually, that's really funny you said that. Actually, I've really been intrigued to speak to younger people. I really want to get my story out there, I guess I should say, to not so much, well, I just want to tell others what I've been through and say, hey, you can do this too, or it can be done, you know.
Yeah. You're still obviously pretty emotional about it, and I don't mean to push you any farther in that direction, but you were so great a year or so ago when we talking about your family and the support that they gave you. Could you touch on a little bit about your family again, because I think that's also a great part of the story.
Yeah, you know, first thing I said when I woke up in the hospital is, when I woke up, I had no idea why I was there. I couldn't remember. I didn't know. I looked up and saw my dad, my mom, standing over me, and first thing that came out of my mouth was, "Can I play basketball anymore?" It's the first thing I said, and they just broke down, you know, started crying. But they've been there for me. You know, it's hard for them to sit there and watch me, especially my mom, sit there and watch me play because she knows, but they're there to support me, and they're there for me every day. So
let's talk about something a little bit more positive. How's that sound? I mean, not that that's not positive, but what's life at Jewell like for you as just a college person? What's it like for you?
I love it here. It's really family based here, and like, we all know each other and we all get along great, and I can go talk to people and say, hey, I need help with this, and they sit there and they'll help you because they know who you are, and it's awesome. I love it here.
Do you have any chance at a social life? I mean, with being a student and being an athlete, what's your social life like? What's it like to be a college kid here?
I really don't have a social life, actually. And I'm okay with that. I love playing basketball, and I go to school, play basketball, and I go sit in my room and do homework. And Netflix has become my best friend.
All right.
Yeah, I love it. But it's fine. It's all right. And people see the basketball girls, and they actually, I think, are a little intimidated by us because every time they see us, we're always in a group, and they know who we are.
Ever thought about getting leather jackets or something like that and walking the streets and being toughs?
Yeah, we need those.
Yeah. What are you going to do after, you talked about some of the interests you have, but what's up for you after graduation?
I'm pursuing to be a teacher in education. I want to do that, especially with little kids, but that's what I plan on doing, is teaching.
Basketball is going to have a definite end this year. There's no chance of postseason play, and this is something I like to ask. What's kind of the mood surrounding the end of the season without a chance to advance because of our transition to the NCAA? What's the thought going into this final part of the season?
As a team, I think we are, trying, hey, we have this many games left, and yes, we can't go on, but we're still working hard to finish the best we possibly can in the conference to make a statement for next year and say, hey, we're for real and we're going to come back.